This is part 2 of tutorial number 1 on diagramming sentences. In part 2, we're going to look at all of these prepositional phrases in this sentence. Let's look at our first one, of the group's earnings. Now, to find the object is almost always the last word in the phrase, in this case, earnings. Another way of looking at it is to say we could take out the and groups and just go key drivers of earnings. That would not be grammatically incorrect. Of earnings is the core prepositional phrase here. The and groups are modifiers, and we'll see of what after we got the phrase going. Now here's how you diagram a prepositional phrase, and it really is kind of cool. You make a little slanty line for the preposition, and then a horizontal line for its object. So, of will go there, and earnings will go down here. Now, earnings sits on the little horizontal line, and of is tilted to go on the slanty line. Then we have a little vertical line to separate them, a bit like the vertical line here and the slanty line there. Of earnings is the core phrase. Then we say, well, which earnings? Whose earnings? Groups' earnings. Groups is one of a special class of word we call possessives, or sometimes called possessive nouns, although you can also have possessive pronouns. Possessive nouns are the ones that have apostrophe s after them, and they indicate who owns something. Possessive pronouns are the ones like mine, yours, his, hers, their, the pronouns that indicate ownership. And ownership modifies a noun by answering the question, whose? To whom does it belong? Now, the, in fact, modifies group. So it's going to be stuck down here as a modifier of a modifier. And I'll show you how we do that. We basically make a little dog leg off to the side, and then we put the slanty line there like that. Now, the next prepositional phrase is in business banking. And by now you should be able to quickly suss out that banking is the object. So we'll draw our prepositional phrase frame, which I always think of as a dog leg for some reason. And then we'll put the preposition up here, in, and our object down here, banking. And then we'll have a vertical line to separate the two. And then, of course, we'll rotate our preposition and stick it over here on the slanty line. Now, what kind of banking? What sort of banking are we talking about here? Well, business banking, business being an adjective modifying banking. Goes there, and here's its slanty line. Now, the next prepositional phrase to come along is with strong growth. This prepositional phrase modifies a modifier. This prepositional phrase answers the question combined how? Combined with strong growth. And you will know already that growth is the object, preposition is with. So let's first do our prepositional phrase frame, our dog leg, and in fact we've got an elbow and a leg this time because we need to come down there like that and there like that, and then there like that. With growth. What sort of growth? Strong growth. Make a little vertical line to separate the object from the preposition. And there we have it. Now, the next prepositional phrase, in deposits and mortgages, I think you can see, has two objects. The preposition in deposits and mortgages answers the question, what kind of growth? In deposits and mortgages. And the way we diagram those two objects, I'll show you. First, the first part of the diagram looks like a normal prepositional phrase. We have the slanty line coming down, the horizontal line. We'll make the horizontal line very short. Then we'll put the vertical line to indicate that what comes after it is, in fact, the object, or in this case, the objects, because there's more than one. And the way we do this is we basically split the horizontal line into two, like this. We got that one and this one. And the conjunction goes between them, like that, and like that. Now, I was actually taught to put a dotted line between them with the conjunction on the dotted line. You can certainly do it that way if you like, if you want to be traditional about it. Again, it's one of those things where I've done it that way for so long, I can't really think of any other way to do it, which is not necessarily always a good thing. But my only excuse is, it is what it is. And that's how it looks when you do it that way. Now, our last prepositional phrase, in personal banking, might appear to modify mortgages because it comes right after it. But remember, we have two objects of that prepositional phrase, deposits and mortgages. And it is both of those that the phrase in personal banking is modifying. So really, all we need to do graphically is just basically close this thing off, pretty much like that. Then we can put a little horizontal line just to have something to hook our prepositional phrase onto. Then we proceed as normal. And the phrase, once again, is in banking. Only this time, when we say what kind of banking instead of business, it's personal. And you can see very clearly here what we mean by modifiers, in a sense. These two prepositional phrases, in business banking and in personal banking, give you, I think, a very dramatic example of modifiers qualifying or adding essential information to the word they modify. Two different kinds of banking. And we now have diagrammed the complete sentence, and as you can see, it has occupied more space than we even have on our screen here. I'm going to shrink it down just so that you can see the whole thing. There's the complete sentence diagrammed. Now, click on Part 3 to see the edit and the diagram of the edit.